guys and gals, welcome to another lesson brought to you by Drums Anytime. So the lesson today is going to be looking at how to incorporate five-stroke rolls into grooves, specifically funk type grooves. But before we do that, I want to look at the five-stroke roll in general and see how it fits within time, and you'll know what I mean in a second. So a five-stroke roll is just right, right, left, left, right, or left, left, right, right, left, right? Okay? All right, which is great. I think a lot of you guys know that. If you don't, that's fine. Right, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, right, left. Okay? And you generally accent the fifth note. But what I want you to be aware of is that when you're playing any kind of rudiment, five-stroke roll is a great rudiment. As an example, you need to understand where it fits within time. And so what I mean by that is this. Let's just say that this is the quarter note, okay? Well, you could say I'm going to play a five-stroke roll as eighth notes, something like this. Right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4, okay? Or you could say I'm going to play this eighth note triplets, and that would be something like this. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Right? So to compare the two, okay? Right? The tempo is not changing, but the way you're playing the subdivision, the note values of the five-stroke is, okay? So you could play it as eighth notes, right? Or eighth note triplets, or 16th notes, right? Just like that. Or 16th note triplets. Let's see. 1 triplet. Yeah, right. Okay. Or 32nd notes. So that's just something I wanted to cover real quick because we're going to look at different examples where the five-stroke roll is going to be different note values, right? It's still going to be a five-stroke roll, but we may play it as, I think we do it as 16th notes, I think we do it as 16th note triplets, and as 32nd notes. So again, this is a good way to practice. We're just practicing it as eighth notes, right? Eighth note triplets, 16th notes, 16th note triplets, 1 triplet, let's say 1 triplet, right? Or 32nd notes. Okay? So just be aware of that. That's a whole nother subject. Make sure you're cool with the five-stroke roll, and in a second we'll come back and look at the different funky five-stroke grooves. Okay, so this first groove is pretty simplistic in nature, and it works, I think, good at both fast and slow tempos. So let's try it out real quick, and we'll talk about it. Let's play it first, though. It's something like this. Let me take a look at it. Right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so the five-stroke starts on the and of 2 and finishes on the and of 3 with that open hi-hat, right? And you notice that it is played as 16ths, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A little faster. I messed up a little bit because I brought the hand to the snare instead of the hi-hat, but it's the same kind of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so that's the first groove. That's with the five-stroke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so mess with that. Play it real slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's spend some time with that, and then change that up a little bit. Come up with your own variations. All right, take your time with that, and then let's look at the next one. Okay, this one has hi-hat playing 16th notes, and we're going to be playing the 5-stroke as 32nd notes, and it starts on the and of 4. And even though I don't have this written down, the hi-hat pattern should be this kind of thing. So you're accenting the downbeats, right? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4, that kind of thing, right? And all the snare hits, so the snare hits are on 2 E, 3, and then 4, other than the 5-stroke, and they're all accented. So that's something like this. One too many kicks. Right? So the key is obviously making sure that this stays as much like this as it can. Right? A little faster. A little quicker. Okay, so that kind of thing. That's another thing. Practice it super slow. Come up with your own variations. All right, spend some time on that, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so in this example, the 5-stroke is going to be split between the hi-hat and the snare drum. And this is going to be the one and only example, I think, where the 5-stroke, at least the first one in the measure, starts with the left hand. And so that's going to be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, 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 da. Okay, slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, so you see the two 5-strokes, right? So the first 5-stroke starts on the E of 1, and the second 5-stroke starts on the and of 2. Is that right? Yes, the and of 2. And they are played as 32nd notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. A little quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, 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 da. Okay? So that's a pretty cool one. So again, mess with this and then try to do your own variations. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this last one is a little bit different because it's in 12/8, and the 5-stroke is going to be played on the hi-hat. Okay, so it's going to be something like this. So I got to look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, so the hi-hat, the 5-stroke is starting on beat 7, right? So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1. So also you could think of it as triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So again, let's see if I can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. A little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check. Right? 1. A little faster. A little faster. out of shape. But that's another kind of cool one, right? So it's just that adding that hi-hat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? A couple mess ups there when I'm trying to count it. But that's a nice way to color that kind of feel up, right? 1. It's a lot easier to think of it in 4 when you're trying to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay? So that's just a few ways that you can take grooves and add the 5-stroke roll into them. I like adding the 5-stroke roll into these kind of grooves because it's a very short rudiment, and so you can kind of get in and out of the groove pretty quick without throwing it off. So my recommendation to you is work on these, get them up to speed so you're comfortable with them, and then come up with your own. So anyway, that's it for this lesson. I hope that you get something out of it. Until next time, thanks so much for stopping by.